As the journey of nationhood continues, the debate still lingers as to what structure Nigeria should adopt. That will be most acceptable and inclusive for all Nigerians as a working draft. A draft that will best meet the nation's aspiration towards a desirable future. Over time, several forms of government have been suggested for the nation. While some are calling for more states to be created, some others yearn for a return to the regional structure. Yet there are those who are calling for an adoption of a parliamentary system of government. The patriots, among others, believe that the nation's constitution needs a total change, as against others who are proposing a slight tweaking of the constitution. Well, we have the Senate Minority Leader and former Minister of Interior, Senator Abba Moro. He joins us live on Arise Prime Time. Good to have you join us.
My pleasure to be with you.
Fantastic. The last time I had you here, your statement was, now I am still in PDP and I'm not leaving. Has that changed?
No, definitely not. I'm a bona fide member of PDP. I remain PDP.
Okay. So now PDP has agreed on, before we come, or maybe we should go to, let's talk the constitution first, and then we'll come back to PDP. I just wanted to get out that last time I had you, we're discussing PDP matters, and we'll still talk about it today. Well, the patriots are asking for a return to a truly federal system where regions will have control of their resources with royalty paid to the center.
Well, I think that a moment of confusion arising, like I used to say, from the feelings and opinions of individual politicians has given rise to a lot of permutations. And one of it is the clamor in some quarters for a return to regional governments. And you want to recall that we had regional government in this country before, and then we moved on, and some crisis of some nature precipitated the Civil War. And arising from the Civil War was the creation of two estates to break regional concentration, to put Nigeria on a stable path to nationhood. And we moved on from there to some 19 states, 21 states, and to 36 states, plus FCT, the 37th state, so to say. And so if you're asking for a return to regionalism at this point in time, to my mind, that is retrogression. It puts us in the mood of a nation in search of nationhood, a nation groping for the pathway to development and growth. And I think that is a path that Nigerians don't want to take.
Some want to take that path. Some are asking for a totally new constitution. Others want just a tweak, alteration. The constitution has been amended 5 times since 1999. And that's why probably the patriots are saying, this is not our constitution. It's foisted on us by the military. Let's have a people's constitution. What do you make of the fact it's been amended 5 times, and we seem to be still having challenges here and there? People are still talking about the same constitution.
Well, first of all, if you're talking about the military foisting a constitution on Nigeria, you want to ask, what gave rise to military intervention in the first place? We had a constitution.
Yeah.
And it was executed in breach rather than in implementation. And that gave rise to a series of crises that gave rise to military interregnum, an aberration on constitutionalism. And here we are, forging a path towards stability. And we are not in debt of conferences and recommendations. You recall that the government of Dr. Ebele Jonathan Goodluck, GCFR,
the 2014 confab,
had constituted the 2014 confab. And the high point of the recommendations in that confab was power devolution, which will gradually lead to the creation of more states, more power centers, more development centers. That beautiful document was not implemented.
It's gathering dust.
And has not been implemented up to today. We're having other series of conferences now and gathering of patriots with virtually the same recommendations. And if you want to note, the United Kingdom doesn't have a written constitution.
Partly, I mean, not all of it is written.
No, the kind of one that you're talking about here now. And I insist that the constitution of a country, a written constitution of a country, is a live document. And as we move on, certain elements that were ordinarily supposed to be there that are not there needs to be included, needs to be amended. Some aspects that offend even the basic rights of human beings are there that have to be removed. And so I think that as long as we develop the necessary political will to continue to tinker with the Constitution and moving gradually towards a perfect document for this country, is a better pathway than the call for a complete overhaul. If you want to ask me, how many people were in the so-called conference that is calling for a complete overhaul, overturn of the Constitution? How many are there?
Some of them were there.
Who do they represent? They were in the 2014 Constitutional Conference. They are here again. This time around, I can say boldly that the president then, Goodluck Jonathan, GCFR, appointed some persons. Some persons were nominated by various constituencies. But here, who can you tell me has nominated or appointed this group of persons that are coming up now with a complete overhaul of the Constitution? And must we go on like this as a nation? I think a point arrives in our lives that we must agree to accept what we have and possibly, like they say, tinker with it to arrive at the perfection that we are looking for.
Well, the patriots believe that this particular constitution favors elites like you and not the people.
And the patriots are who? They are the people, not the elites?
That's what they are saying.
Who amongst the patriots is a farmer? Who amongst the patriots is a cook? Tell me, who among those people are ordinary Nigerians?
Well, some of them are not politicians.
They are not politicians.
At least Anyoku is no longer a politician.
Okay, it's no longer a politician. It's no longer a partisan politician. So he doesn't hold any political view. And then if you don't if you are not political, then you have no business with political issues. Because the Constitution is a political issue.
No, because he's a Nigerian. You still have...
He is a Nigerian.
You still contribute.
So it is not to assume, therefore, that because you are no longer a partisan politician, you are not a politician. Are you telling me now that he doesn't hold any political view that is dear to him?
Of course he does.
He does.
He should, because...
So every person, Nigerians not accepted, are political animals. And so they continue to behave like political beings that they are. But that is not the issue here. The issue is that with due respect to Anyoku, for instance, he has been around for a long time.
He has
for every step of this nation that we have taken so far, Anyoku has been involved in it. He has participated in it. And so we cannot continue to want to begin from the beginning all the time. We, as a nation, must be somewhere at a point, and we can only move from there and not move backwards.
Let's come down to where the the Senate and the House are at concerning the public hearings on the Constitution? Where are we at now?
Well, at the moment, the Senate and the House of Representatives have held public hearings at the various zonal centers. What remains to be done now is a centralized
Abuja
meeting, conference, where all Nigerians that may have missed out from the zonal center conferences will now converge to look at the collation of reports from the various zonal centers with a view to arriving at very concrete framework that can be imputed in the Constitution.
Well, so what's remaining now is, like you said, the central one that should be held in Abuja.
Yeah.
Before it goes to, I understand,
The state houses of assemblies for concurrence.
then before it comes to the House Committee.
Before it comes to the National Assembly once again for a proper concretization of all the issues, and then it goes to the President for assent
So it has to first of all go to the state houses.
of assembly.
We're looking at a very long process.
Yeah. But that is what the Constitution provides for. And that is because the framers of the Constitution anticipate that for any surgical amendment of the Constitution, a greater size of the people must be involved. The National Assembly elected by the people, the state houses of assembly elected by the lower level of constituents. Now they represent the very base of our communities. And so it is believed that if the National Assembly passes amendments, it must go down to the grassroots, to the ordinary person, represented by the houses of assembly, to be able to gain some level of legitimacy. And that is why it goes through all the halls. Don't forget, the Constitution is a very fundamental issue, a very fundamental document, the ground norm of this nation. And therefore, if it must be participatory, it must not be seen as an elite constitution passed only by the National Assembly. Then it has to go to the base of our politics, the grassroots, represented by the houses of assembly, so that when it comes, it is expected that all the T's have been crossed and all the I's have been dotted.
Some believe that the Constitution is not really the problem of this country, it's the practitioners of it. Implementation of what you have there and the people who are practicing the Constitution.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
That is the point that I wanted to make. Is it the absence of laws, for instance, that we are where we are? Because the laws are there. The Constitution is there. Apart from the Constitution, we have a legal framework within which we work in this country. Yet, we are where we are. And I have had reason to say in this place that the problem of this country is the attitude, the mindsets of the people themselves, the implementers. Today, we are talking about political coalitions, political gatherings, political mix-ups and the rest of them. It goes to demonstrate that we don't even have faith in ourselves as a community.
How do we reorder or change that paradigm?
And that means that we have to go back to the basics.
And which will be?
Where has our value taken flight to? I've asked this question before. And so, if all of us have been participants in the political process up to this point, and a section of the community or the political class identifies themselves as more patriotic, as more concerned about the predicaments of the country than the other, that they cannot offer themselves to contribute to an existing structure unless it is a structure manned by them, the confusion will continue. And so I think that if we look at Ghana, for instance, that celebrated with fanfare 50 years of uninterrupted electricity, and we are witnesses to it, and we are Nigerians, and we stay in this place, a country of over 200 million people, and we cannot fashion out a design to generate and distribute electricity to serve us even for one full day, when smaller countries are celebrating 50 years, not 50 days.
Where do we lay the blame? I would think that I should lay the blame on at your doorstep, the parliamentarians, the executives, and what have you. Because you make the laws.
That is where you miss the point, because I am saying here that we are where we are here today, not because of the absence of law, but because of the political will to implement the law. And that's I am not exonerating myself.
Oh, good.
I am not exonerating myself. I am part of the process. I'm part of the leadership that we're talking about here. But a tree, like they say, does not make a forest.
Correct.
So why can't all of us come together and say, hey, let us do it this way?
All right, let's move to PDP. Time is running out. You had a meeting today, a conference, a meeting today, and I gather that the talk was on loyalty. Now, the NEC directed the National Working Committee to take immediate legal action to recover the seats of all serving members of the national and state assemblies elected on the platform of PDP. Has that been done? With the question to what I talked about, loyalty. Is that being done? Has that been done?
Well, that is in the process. I was part of the meeting that instructed that legal action should be taken against everybody elected on the platform of the PDP that has defected to other political parties. And that is part of the issues that we just raised now about constitutional amendments, that we are proposing amendments to the Constitution to the effect that without preconditions, if you were elected on the platform of a political party and you decide midstream to leave that political party, then you lose the seat.
That's going to be?
That is going to be part of the amendment that we are clamoring for here. Because the movement from one political party to the other is part of the confusion in our political journey. And we cannot continue to allow it that way. And that is, again, essentially because we are not practicing a system that is ideology-driven. That very many persons that you find in the political space today are in politics by accident.
Yeah, but now, talking about now, I get that. But now, what the law says, correct me if I'm wrong, if there's a division, a fracas in the party or some semblance of, you know, something wrong.
Not semblance of something wrong. The Constitution is very clear that the only condition under which you can be elected as a legislator...
No, I'm talking about moving.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
That the only reason that you can leave your political party, the platform that brought you to the assembly, for instance, is if there is a division in the leadership of the party at the national level.
But there's a division in PDP, right?
Where is the division in PDP? Where is the division in PDP? There's no division in PDP. I keep insisting.
You just settled the issue of Anyanwu being the secretary, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you just settled that issue. I mean, between him and Udokoye. That was a problem in the PDP.
A problem in PDP is not a division in PDP.
Okay.
And I can tell you for free.
Let's understand what this division will be that will necessitate someone leaving a party to another.
A division in a party that could lead one to leave the party and join the other in line with the Constitution is where the leadership of the party is divided and there are two parallel leaderships in the party. If you recall, there was in the past new PDP and PDP. That is division. Because the new PDP had all the paraphernalia of the leadership of the party. And then the other PDP had the old leadership of the party. And so you can call that division. But because of a semblance of crisis, a semblance of disagreement or conflict amongst members of the party, that does not constitute division. And that is why I keep insisting that PDP is not divided. There is no division in PDP. There are contending tendencies within PDP.
But not division.
I agree with this, I don't agree with this. That is not division.
Okay. So, the coalition of Southeast youth leaders is accusing PDP of alleged serial injustice against the region. I'm talking about the Northeast, describing the zone's marriage with the opposition party as something that is nightmarish. But Saraki said, no victor, no vanquished after the NEC, PDP and democracy won. Has the party been able to resolve this issue with the Northeast concerning what they are saying?
Northeast or Southeast?
Oh, Southeast, sorry, Southeast.
Okay.
That's Southeast.
Yeah. You see, the The situation of the Southeast is a very sad situation. A very sad situation in the sense that, again, that boils down to the Constitution and amendment that we're talking about here. Anyanwu from Southeast went to run for election.
Yeah.
And people were saying he should have resigned. And he said he didn't resign. And therefore, when he failed to win the election, he came back and said he still remains the secretary of the party. And if you look at the constitution of the PDP, there is a provision that you cannot occupy two positions at the same time. And therefore, if you are an official of the party and you are sworn in as the governor, the deputy governor, the president or the vice president, the commissioner, minister, and the rest of them, then you cease to be an official of the party. In this instant case, Anyanwu went to contest for election. He didn't win the election. And therefore, he was not sworn in. And therefore, it does not meet the constitutional requirement of the party that he should leave the position. And because he was not replaced even when he was contesting the election, he came back and the place was still there. And so he came back. And I was part of the delegation that went to INEC to find out the authenticity of the claim that he was still the secretary of the party. And INEC insisted that on the portal of INEC, the person recognized as the secretary of the party is Anyanwu. And we came back and said, hey, if that is the case, if that will give peace to PDP, if that will remove the crisis that we are appearing to be having now, let Anyanwu continue as the secretary of the party. And you will agree with me that that wisdom, for instance, has elicited some level of stability in the PDP.
Okay, well,
we're moving on.
You said that now. Before I let you go, Wabara says PDP is not dead, which is what you're saying now.
Of course.
But some others are saying PDP is actually struggling for oxygen. You know, you don't think so? You know why I'm asking this? You have ADC, I mean, sounding very strong. And that will lead me to ask you whether PDP is seeking for an alignment, using the party as saying the party should.
Well, I can tell you for free here that the PDP is a very big brand.
Is it still as big as it used to be?
No, well, it may not be as it used to be, but that is not to say that...
In terms of giving APC a run for its money and alongside the ADC that is coming on strong?
Yeah, because I told you here before, and I want to repeat here, that a series of activities have been put in place to bridge the gap that those PDP members who have left PDP for ADC or for other political parties have created. And by the time we end up with the convention of the party,
that's coming up on the 15th, 16th, right?
Yes, in November. By the time we come out of it and we have a brand new leadership of the party, I can assure you that those of us still remaining within PDP will galvanize enough strength to be able to give APC a run for X money in 2027.
All right. Watch and wait and see whether you will be able to do that.
No.
All right, Senator Abba Moro, thank you for sparing your time to be on our Rights Prime Time.
Thank you very much.